Samekam.
Yes, please come.
Good morning, sir.
Good afternoon. Will you please take a seat?
Thank you, sir.
Tell me, Ms. Gupta, you're from Jammu and Kashmir.
Yes, sir.
What is the status of Ladakh?
Sir, currently, Ladakh, just like the UT of Jammu and Kashmir, is a union territory post the reorganization of 2019. Considering the political situation, it is without any legislative assembly, unlike the UT of J&K. And it is being governed by the Lieutenant Governor, Shri Virender Gupta ji.
There are so many protests in Ladakh. What is the demand?
Sir, regarding the protests in Ladakh, we saw that the primary demand there is regarding the Schedule 6 status. Other than that, the other demand is the neglect which the people feel the governance and administration has been doing with the local culture and tradition of the area.
Tell me something about Indus Water Treaty.
Sir, the Indus Water Treaty was signed in 1960 with the brokerage of World Bank between India and Pakistan. It divided the Indus River system, including the main river Indus and its tributaries between the countries of India and Pakistan. The western tributaries, such as Indus, Jhelum and Chenab, were given to Pakistan, whereas on Ravi, Beas and Satluj, India had its rights.
There are some disputed points. What are those?
Yes, sir. Sir, regarding the disputes in the Indus Water Treaty, first of all, considering the change in population, economy, as well as the climate change situations, India feels that the treaty should be revised because as per the treaty, 70% of the waters went to Pakistan, whereas India only received 30%, which is very unfair considering the large population as well as the diaspora of Indian side. That has been the major concern. Other than that, our Prime Minister has very well said that blood and water can't flow together. So the Indus Water Treaty has been a contentious point considering the cross-border terrorism.
What are the names of the dams which are being constructed by government only and are erected by Pakistan government?
So the major dams include dams like Salal Dam in Riyasi district on Chenab and Dulhasti Dam as well as Kishanganga Dam on the Jhelum River that has been objected. The Pakaldul and Ratle Dam on Chenab River have been objected by Pakistan as well. Other than that, there have been projects like Tulbul Navigation Project on the Wular Lake in support of the Jhelum River.
Can this treaty be abrogated unilaterally by India?
No, sir, this treaty cannot be abrogated unilaterally because the clause in the treaty says very well that this treaty will be suspended only when both the nations agree to that.
In your depth, you have written that you came to Parliament House to pay homage 4 times.
Yes, sir.
It was at your own initiative or someone invited you here?
Sir, regarding the event of paying homage to national leaders, it was on 2nd of October 2023 that the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs invited one representative from each state to pay homage to our national leaders, Sri Lal Bahadur Shastri and Mahatma Gandhi ji on their birth anniversary. And I was fortunate enough to represent my UT over there.
You are C certificate holders and B certificate holders. What was the purpose of joining NCC?
Sir, my primary inclination towards NCC came after I was able to give the NDA exam in my 12th because for the first time NDA was opened to girls at that time. Other than that, my sister has also given C certificate examination and she has been a part of the NCC. So inspired by her stories or her camp adventures, I was very much motivated to joining NCC.
How evolution of Article 370 has affected the people, people of Jammu and Kashmir?
So, post-abrogation of Article 370, there have been both positive and negative impacts on the people. First of all, considering the positive impacts, there has been a massive integration, the feeling of unity of the J&K diaspora with the diaspora of the rest of the country, because now there has been no restriction on permanent residence and other features. Some negative feelings which we can be said like people are afraid that there might be loss of land and rampant immigration considering the vast land available in the J&K area.
You have preferred DANIS and DANIS over so many central services. What's the reason?
Sir, this actually I had preferred during my DAF 1. I revised this during my DAF 2 final submission.
And now what is the preference?
Sir, now I have kept it on number 18th and 19th.
18th.
Yes.
And about foreign service?
So foreign services has been my second preference.
Second preference,
yes,
you see.
Sir.
You know the trade relations are affecting the foreign policy of every country.
Yes.
Why it happened?
Sir, because we see that in the current post-globalization world, trade has been one of the major threads connecting the global economies. We see supply chains running across multiple of nations. So this links the diaspora as well as the demand of the area. When we see the impact of trade on global relations, the most contentious point currently has been the President Trump's tariffs on India, which have been affecting Indian trade and export. Other than that, we see that policy of China over the control of rare earth minerals and its most prominent dumping habits, they have also been affecting our relations.
Some countries have leverage points with them, so they are affecting the foreign relations and our trade relations also. Like China has the unique that soil, okay?
Yes, sir.
Or every country that's Taiwan has its own,
Yes, sir.
and they have leverage, but India has no leverage.
Sir, considering that nations like Taiwan, China, and South Korea, they have their leverage over the semiconductor industry.
Yeah.
But if we see that a country like India has very future potential to hold leverage, because number one, it has a huge labor, a huge population can serve as the youth of the whole global workforce. Other than that, our agricultural reforms, if done very well, we can serve very well as the granary of the whole world. Thank you, sir.
Hi, Sugandha.
Yes, sir.
Now, during the discussion, you also told that Ladakh is seeking for the Schedule 6 status.
Yes, sir.
Now, how do you think conferring this status upon Ladakh is going to improve upon the situation of Ladakh?
Sir, the Schedule 6 status provides certain autonomy in respect of legislative, executive, and judicial powers to the autonomous district councils and regional councils established in such Schedule 6 areas. Giving such autonomy to the Ladakh Union Territory would help in conserving the tribal as well as cultural aspects of that area, as we can see which has happened in Arunachal and Tripura, etc. Similarly, people feel that giving Schedule 6 status will help in preventing any encroachment of land with respect to mining or corporate industries in the area.
There are twofold demands. If you see the protest, they're
Yes,
also
sir.
asking for a statehood,
Yes, sir.
and then they're also asking for a Schedule 6.
Yes, sir.
Can they both go hand in hand?
Yes, sir. Definitely, they both can go hand in hand, as we can say in the rest of the 4 states which have been given the Schedule 6 status. Because the primary demand for statehood comes because a statehood, it empowers the electoral democracy of that area. People feel that they have a role in the governance of that area. And at the same time, the Schedule 6 status preserves their cultural and tribal autonomy of the area.
Very good. Now, let me just take you to a related thing, because you spoke of electoral democracy.
Yes, sir.
Now, presently, there is an elected legislature in Jammu and Kashmir.
Yes, sir.
So, are they part of the Electoral College of the President?
Yes, sir. They are part of the Electoral College of the President.
Are you sure of it?
Yes, sir. So, in the last presidential elections, there was no legislative assembly of the UT of Jammu and Kashmir. At that time, of course, they were not part. But now, in the next presidential elections, they will be part.
Will they be part of it in the next presidential
Yes,
election?
sir.
Please go and verify that. Okay, I wanted
Okay,
you to have a relook on that, whether
Yes, sir.
the Legislative Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir is it part of the Electoral College or not.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I wanted to ask certain questions from your hobbies, where you put that one of your hobbies is a skilled public speaker. So, what do you think are the qualities of a skilled public speaker?
Sir, in my humble opinion, the qualities of a skilled public speaker has to be the balance in between balancing their own nerves while at the same time thinking quick on his or her own toes. Because when you are speaking in front of the public, you have to back up your opinion with logics as well as reasons as well as facts. And at the same time, you don't have to be sounding very much overpowering in your opinion. You have to be equally expressive as well as equally responsive to what other people are saying.
One has to be persuasive also?
Sorry, sir?
Persuasive.
Yes, sir.
Who is your favorite public speaker?
Sir, in my opinion, I like Mr. Shashi Tharoor, sir, very well. I think he has a very good way with his words, but at the same time, he is very much knowledgeable in what he speaks. And along with that, he also has the ability to listen to others as well.
All right, let me put you in a case. Let us assume that you clear this examination, and fortunately, you get into IAS also. And even more fortunately, you get into Jammu and Kashmir itself, let us assume. Now, what is one thing that you wanted to focus? Suppose you are a DM in any district for that particular matter in Jammu and Kashmir. What is one thing that you would like to focus in that particular district as a district magistrate?
So considering the vast inter-district difference in Jammu and Kashmir only, if I made the DM of, for example, Jammu district, my primary concern would be handling the floating population. Because if we see that being the capital of that area, it is much more developed than rest of the districts, for example, Samba, Reasi, etc. So as a result, it faces huge immigration pressure as well as encroachment pressure. On the other hand, if I made the DM of any other district, for example, the Samba district or the Reasi district, my first and foremost focus would be on developing the industrial potential of that area, because Reasi district, as we also has huge mining potential in that area. If I made the DM of any district of the Kashmir province, for example, of Anantnag or Badgam, my primary focus would be on the security of that area.
All right, one last question.
Yes.
Suppose instead of the administrative service, you get into Indian Foreign Service, which is, of course, your second preference.
Yes, sir.
Now, there is an opinion that the government want to ask you.
Yes, sir.
Though it may happen at the later stages, but let us assume that it is a hypothetical situation that the government of India wanted to decide one most important neighbor to formulate their foreign policy.
Yes, sir.
So, who would be the most important neighbor to India? And for what reason that particular country would be the most important neighbor in your opinion?
Sir, in my opinion, I would consider China as the most important neighbor, because as our former Prime Minister has also said that we can decide our friends and foes, but we can't decide our neighbors. And we see that it is in the Indian foreign policy that we follow this dilemma of handling our neighbors in pairs. Every neighbor we deal with in respect of the China. For example, we are dealing with Pakistan, we have to look at the China angle. We are dealing with Nepal, there is a China angle. We are dealing with Bangladesh, there is again a China angle. So this realized that despite of our strategic and border tensions with China, we are still very much dependent on China's own geopolitics as well as the economy of China, which has a strong foothold in the whole globe.
Thank you, Sugandha.
Good afternoon, Sugandha.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sugandha means?
So fragrance.
Which is the most fragrant flower?
Sir, rose in my opinion, but I can be wrong in my limited knowledge.
You are a student of geology also, botany also, but you are giving your opinion. I wanted in what you call non-aligned opinion, not your opinion.
Sir, I have limited knowledge, so I really apologize. I could be giving my opinion only here.
Okay. And because you have a love for discovering nature also, what sort of tracking you have undertaken in J&K?
Sir, I'll beg your pardon again. This I had omitted in my final draft submission because I felt that I could not very well pursue on this lines giving my civil services preparation. But before that, I have done a few treks in the Reasi district as well as on the Trikuta hills of Sri Mata Vaishno Devi.
For pilgrimage?
Sir, for pilgrimage also, but other than that also, like there are adventure tourism spots as well as in that area. So which along with the government support and as well as the local administration.
So how do you discover nature when you do not go into the remote areas, forest areas, hilly areas, trekking areas, ravines? So how do you discover nature?
Sir, I feel that the UT of Jammu and Kashmir has been very well blessed with...
If I tell you my experience, I used to run after butterflies when I was young, so I was discovering nature like that.
Yes.
Something of that sort you were doing?
Sir, I think I have to get much more deeper in that concept indeed.
Sugandha, you have a very wonderful sentence you have written. A skilled public speaker with a flair of impactful communication. So my colleague already has asked about the impactful. Now, my question is different.
Yes.
Religion is being used as a cover for political power.
Yes, sir.
Religion is being used as a cover for political power. And there, the most impactful speeches are made by religious leaders and preachers. Do you agree?
Sir, in my opinion, indeed very powerful speeches are being made by religious speakers, and religion has been used as a very polarizing force in gathering political opinions. But at the same time, we can see that there have been speeches, there have been speakers who have used religion. For example, Swami Vivekananda's speech at the University of Chicago.
Again, religion.
No, but sir, that was not polarizing or not political in any deed. Rather, it was a very harmonizing use of religion.
So, what benefit, impact it has created?
Sir, if we see that currently in the current world, there has been indeed rise of extremism and polarization with respect of Islamophobia, xenophobia, or any XYZ such phenomena.
So, if I use the word that the impactful communicators, they are misguiding the public at large, using their mental power for nefarious purposes, and misguide the people.
Sir, in my humble opinion, I try to differ with that because in a communication there are two sources. Of course, one who is the speaking, another who is the perceiver. If we feel at any point that a speaker is being,
How will you rate the Hitler speech after which the Nazism is spread? Was it impactful or not?
sir, indeed the speech was very much impactful because again, as you very rightly highlighted, it used very polarizing ideas of regionalism, of German superiority, of the Aryan superiority ideas. But at the same time, I think that whenever we feel that in a communication, the speaker is getting too heavy, the onus is on empowering the receiving end so that they do not get swayed away by whatever the speaker is saying.
How Balochistan became a part of Pakistan?
Sir, post the formation of Durand Line, there was a separation between the between the Pashtun community, and half of them got located in the Afghanistan area, and half of them in the Balochistan area, which now the Baloch community there feels that
It was not annexed Balochistan. Have the people of the Balochistan agreed to be a part of Pakistan?
no, sir, they feel that their ruler was forced during the formation of the Durand Line to sign the treaty to get annexed into that Pakistan.
Which year?
Sir, I'm not.
You have been to Srinagar also.
Yes, sir.
What is the importance of Haji Pir? The Haji Pir we have of course captured Haji Pir, but we have given it subsequent to the Tashkent
Yes, sir.
agreement. What is the importance of Haji Pir in J&K?
Sir, considering the geographical location of the area, it has a very...
Have you been to there?
No, sir.
You have not been to Baramulla?
No,
Rampur?
sir. No, sir.
Have you been to Punch?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now tell us the importance of Haji Pir.
Sir, considering the geographical location of that area, it has a very strategic position because it is close to of course, it is close to Pakistan, and then we have the Wakhan corridor area, which is not very much farther than that. And considering the Ladakh area as well as the Sakshagam Valley and the China factor, it is a very important area.
What is the distance? If you have to go from Punch to Srinagar, how many days it will take?
So, since Punch lies in the Jammu division and Srinagar is in the Kashmir division, they are far apart. If we have to go by a vehicle, I think 16 to 18
okay,
hours.
what is SIR? Nowadays, SIR is very, not 16 hours. Okay, I'll tell you about in the feedback. What is SIR? Nowadays, we are SIR in newspaper, in channels, and SIR. What is that?
Sir, SIR stands for Special Intensive Revision of Rolls. It is being conducted by the Election Commission of India. The major purpose stated behind that is...
Under which act or which provision it is being conducted?
Sir, under the Article 325, which empower yes, sir, under the Article 325 and 326. 326 gives the powers to anyone above 18 years of old to get elected, and under the Article 325, there is maintenance of electoral rolls by the ECI. Under that, the main purpose of the SIR has been to cleansify the electoral rolls from any duplication or any foreign personnel being present, or any people who might have died or have not been omitted from
Trump
the
has said that don't purchase oil from Russia
Yes,
to
sir.
India.
Yes, sir.
Is it correct? Morally, ethically, or diplomatically?
Sir, in my opinion, the statement by President Trump is not correct either if we
Because
see...
you are an Indian?
No, sir. If I belong to any other country and if I see it from the third view perspective also, the statement is not correct. First of all, if we say diplomatically, because from whom country India trades, from whom India buys is completely India's autonomy.
But then why India has stopped buying from Russia oil?
Sir, first of all, we are yet to see the complete impact of the sanctions being imposed and the actions being taken by the public oil companies as well as the private oil dealers.
So for Indian Foreign Service, suppose you go, so you will, what sort of a Panchsheel is relevant nowadays or no? What is Panchsheel?
Sir, Panchsheel was the 1954 agreement signed between Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru and from the Chinese side by Zhao Enlai ji. And the major principles of Panchsheel, they highlight mutual respect as well as mutual territorial sovereignty between India and China. However, the Panchsheel principle have been widely
How many
accepted.
principles were there in Panchsheel?
Sir, 5.
And are they now relevant?
Sir, I feel in the current polarizing world, the nations, we are moving towards much more minilateralism and we are forgetting the overall binding
So
principles
you
of
write
Panchsheel.
poetry also.
Yes, sir.
Which is the last poetry which you can recite, which you have written?
Sir, I wrote a poetry called The People versus the Moon. It is a sort of existentialism where I am trying to compare how the people perceive the moon vis-a-vis
Who is the known philosopher for existentialism?
Sir, I'm not sure of the known philosopher, but I know that Sylvia Plath used to write about existentialism.
Okay, tell us, just recite your poetry.
They say, look at the moon shining so bright, standing like a warrior in a dark black night. Its serene beauty is the only sight. Its glow is the only light in the night. But what if the moon does not feel the same? It feels that all the mighty stories are lame. It feels its beauty is not good as people claim. It has no own glow, just reflects the sun's flame. The chivalry is a lie, there's no water, no air. And it's getting too old to keep on moving here and there. To universe, it asks why life is so unfair. It just wishes its side of the story someone would hear. Thank you, sir.
See, you mentioned about 6th schedule.
Yes, sir.
Have you read the 6th schedule of the Constitution?
Sir, I think I have a decent idea of the schedule. I have read it, but not very intensively.
What are the arrangements to protect tribal rights in the 6th schedule?
Yes, sir. Sir, the 6th schedule aligns with protecting the tribal rights with respect of assigning autonomous district councils and autonomous regional councils so that the tribal communities of the 6th schedule areas, they have much more power in their own local governance. It also gives them legislative powers such as deciding about the primary education, about the non-wood forest produce of that area. It also gives them executive powers regarding the transaction for mining and minerals, and also gives them some judicial powers with respect of disputes on marriage and inheritance, etc.
Okay, what states of Northeast are covered under 6th schedule?
Sir, 6th schedule area includes the states of Arunachal, Tripura, Meghalaya and Mizoram.
You mentioned about Arunachal.
Yes, sir.
Are you sure about it?
No, sir, Assam. I'm really sorry. Not Arunachal. Assam.
Okay, you said Assam,
Yes, sir.
then
Tripura.
Tripura,
And Meghalaya
Meghalaya.
and Mizoram.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now tell me, if you are asked to judge the economic strength of a particular country or an area,
Yes, sir.
what facts will you try to find out? What is the basis of economic prosperity? And what are the institutions which will clarify this position? Suppose you are asked to study the economy of Pakistan.
Yes, sir.
What will you look for?
So, if I have to see this economy of Pakistan, First and foremost, like any multilateral body studies, I would look at the GDP numbers because that highlights the production capacity of that area. Other than that, I will also be looking at the per capita GDP because that relatively positions how the growth story is happening, whether it is a trickle down story or whether it is much more equitable. Other than that, if I have to see, I'd see the multidimensional poverty index and other prominent indexes like indices like the happiness index of that area. Important institutions which can be looked into should be their Ministry of Finance Affairs as well as their central bank.
See, I'll be quoting a sentence
Yes, sir.
I saw in a recent edition of the Dawn. I quote, market capitalization of Karachi Stock Exchange,
Yes, sir.
meaning the market capitalization or value of so many companies
Yes, sir.
registered with Karachi Stock Exchange
Yes, sir.
is less than that of one company of India, Reliance. How do you interpret this data?
Sir, with respect of the statement given by you, I can point out two factors. Looking at the positive side, we can see that market capitalization of the Indian stock markets, especially given the one company you mentioned, Reliance Industries, has been very high. What market capitalization signifies is the value of the stocks and shares of the company. This shows that the financial markets of India are booming very well and the investors are very much opportunistic of India's growth story. However, one negative point which I have to point out should be that there can be overpricing of shares and it can in future lead to the stock market crashing down.
Okay. Tell me, what's the difference in the role and functions of IMF and the World Bank?
Sir, the World Bank was created mainly for with its two main branches, International Bank for Reconstruction and Development as well as International Development Agency. The major function of World Bank is to finance projects as well as economies of the poor countries or the third world developing countries as we say. However, with respect to the IMF, we see that it gives loans as well as financial help to countries which are in distress irrespective of their financial status.
How do you see the role of Asian Development Bank
Yes, sir.
and Shanghai-based bank
Yes, sir.
covering these countries, including India? How do you see the difference between the functioning of these two, World Bank and Asian Development Bank, and this and Shanghai Cooperation
Yes, sir.
system that has been developed by Asian countries?
Yes, sir. So when we see the Asian Development Bank or the New Development Bank developed by the BRICS countries, we see that there is a strengthening of the global south in that area because the major investments as well as the major financial help given by the Asian Development Bank as well as the Asian Infrastructure Development Bank, or we see the New Development Bank, has been to the countries of global south, with India leading both in the investments which it has received as well as in its shareholding. But on the other side, when we see the World Bank, we see that since it has been made in very parochial terms, it has some narrow constraints on its leadership, such as only a resident of United States of America can be the president of World Bank. Such constraints and further constraints of the Western economic system are most commonly put forward by the World Bank when it is lending to other countries.
What's the relationship between IMF, World Bank, and the United Nations?
Sir, the IMF and World Bank were created as the Bretton Woods twins under post the Second World War. They both were created. However, the relation between World Bank and IMF, if I have to point, is the role of World Bank, as I earlier also mentioned, is financing mostly the third world countries or the developing countries, whereas the IMF is also helping other countries in financial situation as well. If we see the United Nations, we see that they both were established during this Bretton Woods conference only, which was held as the United Nations Conference for Financial Stability. I'm not able to recall the exact name for that, but it was under the aegis of United Nations only that this Bretton Woods conference was held for establishing the both.
What is Bretton Woods, by the way?
So it is the area in USA where this conference was held. That is why these are called the Bretton Woods
My
Conference.
question is different. What is the legal status of World Bank and the IMF?
So I'm sorry, I would have to read on that. I'm not aware of that.
What is Durand Line?
So a Durand Line is the border between Afghanistan and Pakistan. It had been established by the British colonial rule when they were leaving the country. However, Afghanistan does not recognize the Durand Line. They feel that it was an imposition on the Pashtun community of the area, who was divided between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Thus, they do not recognize the Durand Line.
Thank you.